Hello, dear students. Today we are going to learn about 10th class, first unit lesson B reading. Every success story is also a story of great failure. Now, let's start with the lesson. Let's start with the title. Every success story is also a story of great failures. Here, the title speaks a lot about many famous personalities who had faced lots of difficulties and failures in life. But they never step back. They always move forward in life with zeal and enthusiasm. Now let's start with the lesson. Failure is the highway to success. Tom Watson Sr. said, if you want to succeed, double your failure rate. Students, you have often heard the proverb, failures are the stepping stone to success. Means one should never get afraid to fail, but learning from those experiences, one must keep focusing on how to succeed is the formula to follow. If you study history, you will find that all stories of success are also stories of great failures. But people don't see the failures. They only see one side of the picture and they say that person got lucky. He must have been at the right place at the right time. If you study the stories of successful people, you will also get familiar with their stories of great failures. But people don't see the failures. They only see the brighter side of their success and said, person just got lucky. He must have been at the right place at the right time. They did not know the struggle behind their success. Now let me share someone's life history with you. This was a man who failed in business at age 21. He started facing failures from his early 20s. He contested in elections and was defeated in a legislative race at age 22. He failed again in business at age 24. Life hits him very badly when he overcame the death of his sweetheart at age 26. He had gone through a nervous breakdown at age 27. He lost a congressional race at age 34, lost a senatorial race at age 45. He faced several failures to become vice president at age 47, lost a senatorial race at age 49. He never gave up, and finally, when he was elected as the President of United States of America at age 52. Now let's look at the meaning. Congressional race is a national lawmaking body in United States of America. Senatorial race. Senator is a member of a legislative body. A senate shares legislative powers with the lower house. In 1913, Lee De Forest, the inventor of the triodes tube, was charged by the district attorney for using fraudulent means to mislead the public into buying stock of his company by claiming that he could transmit the human voice across the Atlantic. He was publicly humiliated. Can you imagine where we would be without his invention? So, in the year 1913, Lee De Forest, he invented the triodes tube. A triode is an electronic amplification device having three electrodes to transmit human voice. Lee De Forest was accused by the district lawyer for using fraud and deceptive methods to misguide the public into buying share of his company by claiming that he could transmit the human voice across the Atlantic. He was publicly insulted, and he is the one who brought sound to motion pictures. Can you imagine where we would be without his invention? A New York Times editorial on December 10, 1903, questioned the wisdom of the Wright brothers who were trying to invent a machine heavier than air that would fly. 1 week later, at Kitty Hawk, the Wright brothers took their famous flight. On December 10, 1903, an editorial of the New York Times expressed criticism against Wright brothers about the idea of building a machine which is heavier than air that could fly. At that time, many people believed that human flight was impossible. Yet, just 1 week later, on December 17, 1903, Orville Wright and Wilbur Wright successfully flew their first controlled and sustained flight, proving that powered human flight was possible. Colonel Sanders, at age 65, with a beat-up car and a $100 check from Social Security, realized he had to do something. He remembered his mother's recipe and went out selling. It is estimated that he had knocked on more than 1,000 doors before he got his first order. Colonel Sanders was the founder of KFC restaurant. He has got chain of restaurants all over the world with the name KFC Kentucky Fried Chicken. Students, when Colonel Sanders was 65 years old, he had an old car along with a $100 check from a Social Security. He realized he had to start a business with it. As he remembered his mother's recipe, he thought of cooking and selling it. Do you know how many doors he had to knock on before he got his first order? It was estimated that he had knocked on more than 1,000 doors before he got his first order. How many of us would have quit after 3 tries, 10 tries, and 100 tries? Then we say we tried as hard as we could. So we have to take the inspiration from Colonel Sanders that if we have to struggle to knock on even 1,000 doors, we are not going to stop. We are going to try until we achieve success. That's what proved a great success for Colonel Sanders' KFC restaurant, that he has chain of restaurants all over the world. As a young cartoonist, Walt Disney faced many rejection from newspaper editors who said he had no talent. One day, a minister at a church hired him to draw some cartoons. Disney was working out of a small mouse-infested shed near the church. After seeing a mouse, he was inspired that was the start of Mickey Mouse. Students, when Walt Disney was a young cartoonist, he has faced many rejections from newspaper editors. They criticized him that he had no talent to draw cartoons. But one day, a minister at a church hired him to draw some cartoons. At that point of time, Disney was working out of a small mouse-infested shed near the church. Mouse-infested shed means a place filled with large number of mouse. So when he saw a small mouse, he was so inspired by it, and that was the start of drawing Mickey Mouse cartoon. And now you all know that Mickey Mouse was one of the world's famous cartoon. And Disney, Walt Disney, is the founder of Disneyland, one of the most beautiful places in America. Successful people don't do great things. They only do small things in a great way. Successful people don't take big leaps. They only take small steps and consistency to reach great heights in life. One day, a partially deaf 4-year-old kid came home with a note in his pocket from his teacher. Your Tommy is too stupid to learn. Get him out of the school. His mother read the note and answered, my Tommy is not stupid to learn. I will teach him myself. And that Tommy grew up to be the great Thomas Edison. Thomas Edison had only 3 months of formal schooling and he was partially deaf. Thomas Alva Edison, when he was 4 years old, he was partially deaf. He barely able to hear anything. One day, he came home with a note in his pocket from his teacher, and she has written in it, your Tommy is too stupid to learn. Take him out of the school. After reading the note, his mother replied that her son was not stupid to learn. She decided that she would teach him herself. And that Tommy grew up to be the great Thomas Alva Edison, the great scientist of all times. Thomas Edison had only 3 months of formal education and he was barely able to hear. In 1914, Thomas Edison, at age 67, lost his factory, which was worth a few $1 million, on fire. It had very little insurance. No longer a young man, Edison watched his lifetime effort go up in smoke and said, "There is great value in disaster. All our mistakes are burned up. Thank God, we can start anew." In spite of the disaster, 3 weeks later he invented the phonograph. What an attitude! When Thomas Edison was 67 years old, in 1914, he lost his factory in a fire accident, which was worth a few $1 million. It had very little insurance. At that point of time, he is no longer a young man to recover such a heavy loss. Edison watched his lifetime efforts go up in flames and reduce to ashes. He said, "There is great value in disaster. All my mistakes are burnt up. Thank God I can start anew." In spite of that fire accident, 3 weeks later he invented the phonograph. What an attitude! We must appreciate his positive attitude towards life. Henry Ford. Henry Ford was an American industrialist, the founder of the Ford Motor Company and sponsor of the development of the assembly line method of mass production. He forgot to put the reverse gear in the first car he made. Do you consider these people failures? They succeeded in spite of problems, not in the absence of them. But to the outside world, it appears as though they just got lucky. All success stories are stories of great failures. The only difference is that every time they failed, they bounced back. This is called failing forward rather than backward. You learn and move forward. Learn from your failure and keep. Setbacks are inevitable in life. A setback can act as a driving force and also teaches humility. In grief, you will find courage and faith to overcome the setback. We need to learn to become victors, not victims. Fear and doubt short circuit the mind. So failures are unavoidable in life. A failure can act as a driving force. It can be it can give you motivation to move forward in life and also teach you how to be humble. In sorrow, people will find courage and faith to succeed over the failure. Students, we need to learn to become winners, not losers, because fear and doubt they will really create confusion that people can't see the clarity. Ask yourself after every setback, what did I learn from this experience? Only then you will able to turn a tumbling block into a stepping stone. Ask yourself after every failure, what did I learn from this experience? Then only you will be able to turn a blocked path into a win-win situation. Napoleon Hill once said, "The motivation to succeed comes from the burning desire to achieve a purpose." Napoleon Hill wrote, "Whatever the mind of a man can conceive and believe, the mind can achieve." So here, success begins in the mind of a believer. So you have to dream big, believe in your abilities, work hard with determination. A strong purpose combined with consistent effort can turn dreams into reality. Let me give you an example of Thomas Edison. He failed 10,000 times before inventing the practical electric light bulb. He never gave up because he believed in his goal. His strong desire and persistence eventually led one of the world's greatest inventions. A young man asked Socrates the secret to success. Socrates told the young man to meet him near the river the next morning. They met, and Socrates asked the young man to walk with him into the water. When the water reached their necks, Socrates suddenly pushed the young man's head under the water and held him there until the young man struggled desperately to get air. Just before he was about to lose consciousness, Socrates lifted his head out of the water. Socrates then asked, "When you were there under the water, young man, what did you want the most?" And the young man replied, "Air." Socrates said, "When you want success as badly as you wanted air, then you will achieve it. There is no other secret to success." I hope you like this video, students. So here we have finished with every success story is also a story of great failures. And actually, a burning desire is the starting point of all accomplishment. Just like a small fire cannot give much heat, a weak desire cannot produce great results.